Ancient ruins at Roman Forum. Roman Forum thriller. The chase begins. The sun burned a fiery orange as it descended behind the jagged silhouette of the ancient Roman Forum. Thick clouds of dust hung in the air, stirred by the trampling of countless tourists eager to immerse themselves in history. Amid this hum of casual curiosity, Alex Carter moved with purpose, his sharp gaze darting between towering marble columns and the crumbling remains of centuries-old temples. Hidden within the folds of his leather satchel lay a fragment of parchment, its cryptic symbols hinting at a secret buried for millennia. Alex paused by the Arch of Titus, feigning interest in the intricate carvings while scanning the shadows. Unbeknownst to the meandering tourists around him, he wasn't alone. A pair of men, dressed inconspicuously in jeans and jackets, had been tailing him since the entrance. Alex's instincts were honed from years in the field. These weren't mere pickpockets. He clutched the strap of his bag tighter, muscles taut. His heart hammered as the faintest whisper of a metallic click reached his ears. Someone was drawing a weapon. Before he could react, a deafening crack split the air, and the crowd erupted into chaos. Screams reverberated off the ancient stones as people scattered like startled birds. Alex dove behind a fallen pillar, narrowly avoiding the whizzing projectile that ricocheted off the marble where he'd been standing. Blood pounded in his ears. Whoever these people were, they weren't afraid to make a scene. His pursuers emerged, their faces hidden beneath baseball caps. One signaled to the other, and they fanned out, searching for him. Alex's fingers found the cold steel of the knife tucked into his boot. It wasn't much, but it would have to do. He waited, breath held, until one of the men stepped too close. In a fluid motion, Alex lunged, slamming the hilt of the blade into the attacker's temple. The man crumpled silently, but his companion had spotted him. The second assailant raised his gun, and Alex's heart sank. Just as he braced for the worst, a roar split the air, and a blur of fur and muscle hurtled into the man. A stray dog, lean and wild-eyed, sank its teeth into the gunman's arm. Seizing the moment, Alex surged forward, delivering a swift kick that sent the weapon skittering across the ground. He didn't wait to see if the dog would finish the job. Grabbing his bag, he sprinted towards the labyrinthine ruins. Adrenaline coursed through his veins as he ducked under archways and vaulted over ancient walls. The forum's twisting pathways were both a curse and a blessing. He knew he had to lose his pursuers, but every turn felt like a gamble. The parchment and the secret it promised had to stay out of their hands. Into the shadows. The labyrinthine depths of the forum swallowed Alex whole, the echoing din of the crowd fading into ghostly silence. Here, among the ruins untouched by tourist feet, the air seemed heavier, laden with the weight of history and secrets. Alex's breaths came in short gasps as he slowed, ears straining for any sound of pursuit. Somewhere far off, the faint clatter of boots on stone reminded him he was far from safe. He clutched the satchel tighter and ducked into a half-collapsed temple. The dim light barely illuminated the worn carvings on the walls, Latin inscriptions that time had all but erased. Alex fished out his phone, the glow casting sharp shadows as he pulled up the image of the parchment. The symbols matched an engraving near the altar, confirming his suspicions. The parchment wasn't just a map, it was a key. Before he could study further, the hairs on his neck prickled. He wasn't alone. Alex spun just as a shadow detached itself from the doorway. A woman stepped forward, her sharp features framed by jet-black hair tied into a ponytail. She wore tactical gear, and the Glock in her hand was aimed steadily at his chest. "Give me the parchment," she ordered, her voice low and deadly. Alex's mind raced. He recognized her from his research, Sofia Marquez, a mercenary with a reputation as ruthless as it was efficient. He'd hoped their paths wouldn't cross. "If you shoot me," Alex said, carefully raising his hands, "you'll never find the treasure." Sophia smirked, though her grip on the gun didn't waver. "Funny. I was about to say the same thing to you." Before either could make a move, a deafening crash reverberated through the temple. Dust rained down as the ceiling began to crack, weakened by the centuries. Sophia cursed, lowering her weapon as a massive slab of stone collapsed between them. Alex didn't hesitate. He bolted toward a hidden passage he'd spotted earlier, the sound of her shouted threats chasing him. The narrow corridor wound deeper into the ruins, the walls pressing in as if to swallow him whole. His flashlight revealed carvings depicting battles, gods, and, most intriguingly, a figure holding what looked like the very parchment in his bag. His excitement was short-lived as the passage abruptly opened into a cavernous chamber. And there, at the center, stood an ancient altar. It was surrounded by a pool of water, so still it seemed like glass, reflecting the intricate mosaic ceiling above. But Alex had no time to marvel. From the shadows, a new figure emerged, an older man with piercing blue eyes and a commanding presence. He wore a tailored suit, incongruous against the ancient setting, and held a revolver with the confidence of someone who'd used it before. "Mr. Carter," the man said, his voice smooth and cold. "You've led us right where we needed to be." Alex's stomach sank. It was one thing to evade gunmen and mercenaries, but this man, Alexander Graves, the billionaire archaeologist with a reputation for playing dirty, was in a league of his own.
Trapped by the past.
Graves' arrival felt like the final nail in Alex's coffin. The billionaire's reputation as a ruthless opportunist wasn't just rumor, it was legend among the archaeological community. Behind him, two more armed men emerged from the shadows, flanking their boss like loyal hounds. Alex's options dwindled to none. "Mr. Carter, you've done all the legwork," Graves continued, gesturing grandly at the chamber. "And for that, I thank you. But I'm afraid your role in this story ends here." Alex tightened his grip on the satchel, his mind racing. The water surrounding the altar glimmered faintly, a telltale sign that something, possibly machinery or traps, lay beneath its surface. He had to think fast. "Killing me won't get you any closer," Alex said, stalling. "You don't even know how to decipher the parchment." Graves' smile didn't falter. "Oh, I think I'll manage. But if you insist," he raised his revolver, aiming squarely at Alex's chest. The sound of splashing water interrupted the standoff. From the shadows, Sophia Marquez emerged, soaked but alive. Her gun was gone, but her eyes burned with a mix of fury and determination. "Looks like you've got a party," she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Mind if I join?" The chamber erupted into chaos. Graves barked orders, his men fanning out as Sophia lunged toward Alex. Her movements were a blur, and before Alex could react, she yanked the satchel from his hands. "Sorry, Carter," she quipped, tossing him a wink. "Nothing personal." But as she backed toward the altar, the floor beneath her feet shifted. A deep rumble resonated through the chamber, and the still water began to churn violently. The ancient mechanisms had been triggered, and the room's true nature was revealed. It wasn't just a sanctuary, it was a trap.